Hello everyone, I'm the host of EXPAT EXPERTS podcast, Marc Alcubé, and this video is extracted of a longer interview that I had with Parimal Satyal. If you're interested in listening and watching to the full episode, you can find it here, and I hope you enjoy this.
But my favorite area would actually, I would argue, not be an area at all. Which is a very unfair way to answer the question, but I'll do it anyway.
Sure.
Which is, if you like cycling, it's very easy to go out of the city and have access to sort of Brandenburg, the region next to Berlin or surrounding Berlin, very, very quickly. So you can go even, for example, to Poland on your bike very, very easily. And that ability to be in nature so quickly with infrastructure that I would argue is very well developed is probably my favorite place in Berlin.
I see. Yeah. At the end, here it mixes now, and it shows a little bit that your hobbies actually fit more or less in this city. But at the same time, you are saying that some expectations were not met in here. Like, what is the negative part of how you're seeing here?
Yeah, I suppose I wouldn't quite say the expectations weren't met. I would say that I didn't have very clear expectations. So, I mean, you can find everything in Berlin. You can find any niche, any sort of interest has its place in a city like Berlin. I suppose for me, what I am not a big fan of is the fact that it relates to what we're going to talk about later, which is the food culture. You can find amazing food in Berlin, and there's great street food. If I had to sort of pick different types of food, we go from home cooking, and then you go to street food. This food you make like a medium, like normal restaurant, and then gastronomy, right? Like the very gastronomic restaurants. I think Berlin does the gastronomy, the gastronomic restaurants and the street food exceedingly well.
Okay.
But that middle ground, which is just normal restaurants, right? They're, in my opinion, a little too expensive, and also the culture around food is not. But that's more to do with, I think, how cosmopolitan Berlin is, and I find it less exciting. The food and wine scene is definitely there. You can find amazing things, but culturally, I think that people are a lot less excited about food, and so that's one. And the winters can be a bit
Harsh.
a little bit, yeah.
Probably it's the length also, no? I mean, it's a part of, like, I think the last episode we talked about a little bit, like this downside of, or I talk with a lot of people who lived here in Berlin or in Germany, and it's, if you have like 1 or 2 months of harsh winter, you survive. But if you have 6 months, it starts to become like hardcore on your mental health, especially. A lot of people was saying lack of sun.
Lack of sun, yes.
So would that be the part that you miss from France? Or if you could take something from Paris and bring it here, would it be the weather?
Not really.
Because it's not the most exciting thing in the world in Paris either.
No, it's not. It would certainly not be the weather. No, like, for example, this last winter was brilliant. I loved it. We had snow, which I really like. It was never too harsh. The reasons why for which the weather was so good perhaps are not particularly positive, not to be celebrated. Nevertheless, the truth is it wasn't that bad, so it wasn't a problem at all. The city, you know, I mean, it's a city that's very sort of wide, it's very large, just in area, so it means that the whole city is very it's not very dense, which means that you can, if you're already not feeling great, struggle to sort of there's a lot of gray. There's a lot of gray, and you can feel a bit overwhelmed by that. I don't think that's the biggest thing, though. The biggest thing I would bring from France to Germany, to Berlin, because
would be the cheese.
With you can find really good French cheese as well. But cheese wouldn't be that far away. But it would be just the excitement. I would just say the excitement, not like an event, but just the general excitements of living, like things like great conversation, this sort of a little being
the
a bit
gray mood, no? This like
exactly.
thing of here, like ways of talking about things. And
Yeah.
it's curious because it's a city that has thousands of activities. Like it's one of these cities that if you want to do something, there is always something to
There's
do in
always,
Berlin. But then when you talk with people, especially people from here, from Berlin, born here and raised here, it's of course like making a majority out of nowhere, but it's not the reality for everyone. But I met a lot of people who are kind of like dark, or like not dark in the sense of being like dressing in dark, which also
is very much a
black thing.
Yeah.
But like this mood of like, I don't know, maybe they are super happy with their life here, but they don't show it, you know.
It's no, you're right. It's a lot. I mean, it's a feature also of Berlin. I think it's something that's quite positive. Is if you're someone who doesn't like being bothered, who doesn't like sort of making a lot of conversation, if you're not very social as you're not a very social creature, well, Berlin is very comfortable because no one generally bothers you on the streets or your interactions at the supermarket. I was going to say at the bank, but who goes to the bank these days? But
Greeks a lot.
Greeks, you'd know about that. Yeah. So you can sort of have your own space, which is also I do enjoy that a fair bit. Yeah. But I will say that there's nothing really I dislike about Berlin. I think the reason I'm considering moving back to France next year, moving back to Paris, and we'll probably get to that as well, sure. is because I miss France. For me, I miss the excitement around sort of how animated things are, how animated conversations are, and also a bit of, oh gosh, I was about to say I like some of the negativity there, but that sounds really, I don't mean that. What I mean is I like that it's a bit, there's a bit of everything. You know, it's a bit more expressive, and not just necessarily people. Yeah, the mood is more expressive, and but that doesn't necessarily mean I don't necessarily think that's better. I think it fits me better. But certainly Berlin. So in that sense, that's why I would say it's not like my expectations were met. I wasn't entirely certain, and I'm glad I came. And I know that when I leave, I will miss Berlin a lot, especially the cycling.
Makes sense. In that thing at the end, you're just saying that probably you're planning to go back to France and at some point. I mean, do you think it's also related with the idea that you grow up there and maybe you are so used to the ways of doing of a place? The fact, like the very beginning of the episode, you were saying that you were moving here because of the fear of like only being in one place, and then suddenly, oh fuck, I realized that I never moved, or I'd always been here for the comfort, which is okay. A lot of people does that at the end. Do you think that you are actually going back due to the same fact, in the sense of like, I know that, and I mean, at least now you have the comparison, no?
Exactly. I mean, it had always been my goal to live in Berlin for a while. When I say always, before moving here, I spoke about it for 5 years. My friends were all sick of it. Genuinely, they were like, either just do it already or stop talking about Berlin. So in some ways, I had to do it at that point, you know. And if I didn't do it, because around the time I moved, I was very, very comfortable in Paris. And of course, our jobs, do they know that we are colleagues? We're colleagues.
If not, now they know.
If you liked this short video out of the full episode, you can find the link to it around here and in the description below. Of course, if you are also interested in checking out other episodes, please subscribe and like.